Hello and welcome to this new episode of Open Book Entrepreneur. Today we have Jake here with us all the way from US. He's an author who wrote several books already. He's a business coach as well and has a very interesting story. I think also I forgot to mention he's got the TV show as well. So Jake, please introduce yourself to our audience.
Hi, good morning, Tony. So my name is Dr. Jake Clendenning. I'm the co-creator and creator of a lot of different things. So our podcast is called Total Disruption. Our television show, as Tony mentioned, is called Business Battleground. I've got 5 books out. I just got a new one that we're putting out right now. It's called Days of High Adventure. Looks just like that in the cover. This is much more of this is the description. I introduce myself often as a professional small boy, and everybody asks, well, what does that mean? The book describes what that means, exactly what that is. And the reality is, it's all about taking those childhood experiences, what forged you into the being that you are now, but also approaching your current state. I'm 52 years old now, and looking at every day through curiosity, looking at every day through, I want to learn more, I want to understand, I want to meet new people. The world is still a big, wonderful place that I need to learn and I need to understand. So that's the broad strokes, but you can read the much more entertaining story in the new book.
Wow, yeah, sounds very interesting. So what inspired you actually to start writing books in the first place?
Well, I've always said I wanted to do it. And a lot of us have said that. We've said, gee, it'd be really I've got a message. And this is where podcasting comes from too, is, I've got a message, I want to share it with the world. A lot of people turn to podcasting. I actually had a friend of mine, her name's Dr. Emily Latran, and she is a Vietnamese refugee moved to the US and made just a monster empire for herself. She's so inspiring. She's very in stature. She's little tiny chick. But when you start to talk to her, she shows up enormous. She is a huge personality and just an authority figure and so inspirational. And I was having a very candid conversation with her one day because she has written, I think she's on 11 or 12 or 13 or who knows how many books. She's written a pile of them at this point. And I was talking to her about her book experience, and I said, "Well, I've considered it. I've thought about it." And she stopped me and she challenged me, and she's like, "You're going to finish your book in the next 30 days. I dare you." Like she challenged me, she called me out on it, and it's like, and I respond to that. I've always responded to that. And at the time, she didn't know me well enough to know that, but she read me well enough to know that. And she challenged me in such a way to finish writing my first book. And I finished the writing process in 30 days. I got that done. It was not published in 30 days. I want to go, but I finished the rough outline of it but we had it within a quarter, right? Within a standard business cycle, the first book was out and done. And the first book, that's been 2.5 years ago, is when I wrote the first book. And like I said, I just finished, this is my fifth. And I just finished my fifth book in 2.5 years. Once you get the first one done, it's remarkable how you now understand the writing process. Like you've got a message, guys. You absolutely do. All you need to do is you need a little push. All you need is an outline to start writing the book and you can get it done. And there's tons of ways you can get that done right now.
Totally. So one thing is obviously to write the book, yeah, and then obviously find someone to help you publish it and everything else. Then on top of that, like what is the impact that this book or books those books had on your business? This is something that it's very important to hear from someone who actually wrote 5 books because it looks like either you fell in love with writing the books or something inspired you to continue or it's another challenge. So let us know about this, please.
Well, and you're right, Tony. So the impact is so you can write one book and that's going to give you more credibility. Everybody that can say I'm a published author, that gives you more credibility in whatever business space you're working in. So I'm an executive business coach by trade. That's the thing that I do. That's my day job, if you will. And that gives me a lot of credibility with new clients. It gives me, it is a very profound business card. At every event you're at, you can go, yeah, I'd like to hand you my book. And you reach out and you hand them your book and you sign the book. It creates a deeper connection with whoever you're doing that with. So it's a big credibility piece. It's also a legacy profit center. Think about it this way, is that book's going to be here a long time after you're not. So it's going to continue to generate income. So I look at it as an investment. You create this thing, it's now proprietary work. You own the copyright rights to it, and it's going to live here. Like it's part of the world history now. You've laid a mark there. You've put a mark in the sand. You put a flag down and said this is where it is. And that's going to continue to generate revenue long after you're gone. So that's a piece of the inspiration of why I keep doing it. And the other part of this, and you know this as a podcast host, and what in all the things that you do, we only need to reach one person. Like if we can reach one person and we can truly make an impact and we can change the course of their world for the better, awesome. Like we can do that through our messaging and podcasting. We can do it through our messaging with the TV show. And a book is a very powerful method to be able to get your message to people so that somebody hears it. And you never know where they are in that day, what they're going through, that maybe they just need a quick laugh and that'll change the direction of their life. I had a very inspirational coach friend of mine. His name's Terry Gurno. And when I was developing my coaching curriculum years and years and years ago, he said the right question at the right time will change a person's life. And
I
the
totally
same is,
agree.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, and the same is true with the book. Everybody has read something that just changed you in that moment. This is
Ooh.
your opportunity to do that.
Yeah, yeah, big time, big time. Because also the Japanese, they have a proverb saying it's much more important to actually ask the right question than give the right answer. Yeah, and I really
Hmm.
truly believe in that. And then another point that you mentioned, Jake as well, is book can actually change someone's lives or lives of many people. Like I remember when I first read my one of the books from Tony Robbins, Awaken the Giant Within. I think it was the
Yep.
name. Yeah, I think that had a huge impact because I've been coaching, since 2011, so very long time now. But I read it a few years before that, and probably this is one of the reasons why I became coach myself. So that's how big the impact one book can have, and you can actually change the direction of person or many people, like in terms of what they're going to do, how they're going to actually succeed in their life or progress in their life. So really great point. So can you tell us a little bit more about these few books that you're mentioning? And obviously you have one coming up just now. So yeah, tell us a little bit more about that, please.
Yep. So the first one that I wrote, and part of why Dr. Emily challenged me on it, is that it actually is the thesis for my doctorate. So this is actually the work that I had to defend to finish my PhD. It's called Rings of Impact. This one was a little bit of my life transformation story in the beginning, as well as a model of something I call the five rings. And it's largely about one of my favorite quotes is, this will make it really easy for you guys, is you are a product of the five people you spend the most time around. If you spend time around five millionaires, you're likely to be the sixth. You spend time around five marathon runners, you are likely to need new tennis shoes. You're going to be a marathon runner. You spend five time around five drug dealers, might still be a millionaire, but you got there a different way. Let's be
Yeah.
really honest with that. So, you are a product of the five people you spend the most time around. That's true in every aspect of your life. Okay. So this is, you can look at that first book, Rings of Impact, and that's what that was meant to be is you have a choice. You are not who you are right now. You don't have to be. You can choose to be anybody you want to be. Another person his name's Gary. He's a very wildly, unbelievably successful real estate mogul. He said, you can be anywhere you want to be in 5 years. You make the choice that you can be anything and anywhere you want to be in 5 years. So think about the choices you're making right now. Think about the people that you're spending time with right now. So that was what developed that book. My second book, Coaching for Impact, and that's actually a development program to become a business coach, an executive coach, a life coach. It's a coaching models book. Third book was Ideas to Impact, and that was a book how to take anything, whether product, podcast, TV show, anything, any idea, and create a business model out of it in 30 days. How to do it. So it's a playbook on how to do it. Fourth book is called the KLT formula, and that's the know, like, and trust formula. You can go back forever ago, and they were talking about this, but we've been talking about it so long, we kind of created a formula around between a communication model and sales model. So this is all about, it's not a playbook per se. This one's a little different. There's got some anthology stuff in there and it's pretty fun. And then Days of High Adventure it's a memoir. I call it a semi-fictional autobiography because it's as I remember my childhood adventures. What I remember of them. Are they maybe a little overblown? Maybe. Are they exactly as I remember them? Yeah, they're exactly as I remember them. But these are the adventures that forged me into what I am today. It's an exercise and journey along the timeline for me to go back and understand what forged me, what built me, what were the positive experiences that brought me to where I am today as Dr. Jake Clendenning. So that's what the books are all about, and it's just been a process in writing to this. And this particular memoir book will actually become a series. I've already been encouraged by a few people that have read it. They're like, "Man, you got to keep going with that one." So that which is there's very little in the world that'll make you feel better than somebody you know and loves you to the point to where they'll tell you if your book sucks or not. That says that's a good one. Write more. Keep going. That's a testament.
And it's very interesting, how you are actually a business coach, and originally, everything was sort of focused around business, and then the memoir actually becomes the best book so far. So, definitely. So where people can find those books?
So the easiest way on the books is go to my author website is getmybearings.com or .net. I almost made that up. So it's getmybearings.net, and you'll be able to find them there. The other place to find them, they're all on Amazon. They're all on Barnes and Noble. If you go and hunt them down, you find me by my name, Jake Clendenning or Dr. Jake Clendenning. But getmybearings.net is a great one. You can also find us at total-disruption.com. You can get the books there. You can find the podcast. You can find the TV show, all the stuff and things about us with Total Disruption. We'd love to see you there.
Wonderful. Yeah. I mean, we can definitely share those links in the description of this episode as well. So anyone watching us can just check there as well. And yeah, I mean, before we close this episode, Dr. Jake, is there any final thought that you would like to share with our audience? Any question maybe that they didn't ask you, anything else?
The one thing I want to share a really quick story with you, and I'll try to make it really quick. I know we're burning on time. So, years ago, when I first started down this personal and professional development road, and I have a mentor in my life. Her name's Barb, and we were sitting down doing business planning about this time of year for next year, and she said, "Hey, you had a great year last year as your first year doing this, and what are you going to do next year? What's your plan?" Well, nobody had ever sat down and done this, so me being the super smart individual that I am, note the quotes, I thought, well, I'll give myself a 10% cost of living raise, and I increased what I would do by 10%. And she paused, then she pulled her glasses down on the end of her nose like she does, and she looked down her nose at me, and she said, "Jake, why would you settle for good when great is on the table?" So I would ask the audience today, I would ask you guys to think about that. Why are you settling for good when great is available to you? Like that's literally like reaching for the salt or the pepper. Salt is good, pepper is great. Which one are you going to reach for today? Because they're both within your reach.
Definitely. I mean, it's such a great story. And I would like to add one more thing to that because I was mentioning also Tony Robbins. And, after I read his book, a few years later, I did like 3 years of events, live events, when Tony was in London. Tony Robbins was in London, and on one of the events, he was actually talking about this exact point, but he was just like talking about it in such a way that people settle for good, but you can easily be extraordinary. Yeah. And the difference is
Hmm.
like someone can say, oh, my wife left me, but I was good. I lost this business, but I was good. And so many different examples like that, where you can actually just go and be a little bit better than good and become extraordinary, and then save yourself from a lot of issues and problems. Dr. Jake, thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing those great details, and thank you all for watching, listening. If you liked it, drop us a like and also subscribe. And on top of that, see you all in the next episode. All the best, and bye bye.